My name is Shanae George. I'm a psychotherapist and founder of Culture Minds Therapy. My role is to take therapy outside of the office and to you all at home. I bring to you the mind behind your favourite guests. We speak about mental health, therapy and self-care. Thank you for coming today, Cassie.
Thank you for having me.
I like to start my interviews the same way with every guest.
Okay.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the happiest, how are you feeling right now? What number?
A nice 7.
7? Okay,
yeah,
that's
a
good.
nice 7.
What's making you feel 7?
I feel like I'm in a place where there's a lot of uncertainty.
Okay.
And for me, when there's uncertainty, I'm a bit, like when I don't have a full plan of what's happening next, I get a bit nervous. So that's why I'd say a 7, because I don't really know what's coming, if that makes sense.
Okay. That's good. And hopefully by the end of today's interview, you might change, or we'll see. We'll see how it goes. First of all, congratulations on your music career. I've been listening to your song. I recently watched your son. Was it this morning you put it up on Instagram?
It was yesterday evening.
And he was singing your song.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
I know.
sweet.
I can't believe it. I don't even know how he knows that. Even though he's like, I was like, who sings that song? He was like, you. But I was like, how do you know? Well, obviously he knows my voice, but I don't feel like I've told him, oh, this is my song, have a listen. I don't feel like I said. And then when I listen in the house, I don't like tell him to listen, if that makes sense. I'm just listening to it in the house. So then when he was like singing and doing facial expressions, I was like, how do you know this? But
that's so. And how does it feel as a mother to have a child and watch your child watch you grow, especially within your career and kind of where you've come from as well? How does that feel?
I don't like to call him my little best friend because...
Why?
Because I feel like, I was my mum's best friend, and I think that's a lot as a child to be your parents' best friend. Like, she told me too much, I feel like. So I always like to be like, you're my son, but you're my little friend. But now I feel like he's like my little brother. Like, he's literally grown with me. Like, he's seen the journey. He's just on it with me, if that makes sense. And I think before I was a bit more worried about that. I wanted to have this, like, I've got it together, mum kind of thing. But now I'm like, it's good for him to see emotions, understand, and stuff like that. So, I mean,
that's really good. And I guess you're kind of being a mum as you want to be, and kind of, you know, having your own way of being a mother and motherhood, and kind of bringing up your son in the way you want to bring him up. Because you said, you know, your mum told you too much, and you like best friends, but now you've kind of stepped back from that, and you kind of bringing up your child how you want to.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Do you know what it is? I don't think there's any. Well, you should know. There's no like rule book to being a mum. There's no like everyone can tell you everything, and then you can have this whole plan while you're pregnant. I'm gonna be like this. I'm gonna do it this way, and then your child comes and they show you a complete different way and open you up in different ways. So I don't have a rule book. I'm trying to do certain things, and I guess that's where like therapy and stuff comes in for me to make sure I'm not projecting and stuff like that. But yeah, we're just trying, we're winging it.
And I guess that's what it's like being a mum, because I'm a mum as well.
Yeah.
I've got a 6-year-old, and every day is different. There's no kind of rule book as today's going to be like this, tomorrow's going to be like that. You just kind of go with how things are, how their mood is, and what the day brings.
Literally, even yesterday, he said something to me. Like, I was doing something, but my face was a bit stern, but nothing to do with him. And then he was like, did I do something wrong? Why does your face look sad? And I was like, he's never said that. So I was like, oh no, it's nothing to do with you. I was explaining to him, and he's like, oh, okay. And then he carried on watching TV, and I was like, okay, so he's even starting to understand, like, he's never said something like that. So I'm like, he's realizing my facial expressions. So I was thinking I have to be a bit more mindful that he doesn't feel like I'm doing something because of him. So yeah.
That's lovely. And when with kids, they're so intelligent. They're more intelligent than we actually think.
Exactly.
For him to be able to look at you and say, oh, mummy, are you okay? You said, have I done something wrong? To articulate yourself as well.
At 4.
He's 4.
He's 4.
Oh, he's 4 years old.
So I was like, I couldn't believe he said that. Yeah. So
wow, that's good. Reflecting back on your life, I know you've been very vocal, very open about the things you've gone through.
Yeah.
I have watched your TED Talk, and I guess, would you say you being open and being vulnerable started from your TED Talk and then kind of progressed as you continued on?
I think no, probably from like Instagram.
Okay.
And like becoming like not an influencer, a content creator.
Okay.
And then people
But you are an influencer though, because you have influenced many of us.
Yeah.
You went viral for your wedding.
Yeah, exactly.
You did an amazing TED talk as well. So you have a story.
Yeah.
So I want you to give yourself that credit for that inspiration and that influence you've had within, I can only speak for our community, within the Black community. So you have been a figure that has had a lot of influence and good influence as well.
Okay, yeah, that's the thing. Obviously, with influence, like I'm just living my life. So sometimes it can feel like I hope I'm not doing or saying anything that might, I don't know, not like it's a lot of pressure being an influencer. So I like to say content creator. But when my wedding went viral, obviously social media blew up for me. I went from like 800 followers to like 10,000 in like 2 days, and then I had this platform. And I thought, okay, there must be a way that you have to lead this platform. I have to look a certain way, be a certain way. Wow. And there was one day where I just put like a really honest caption. I like kind of wear my heart on my sleeve anyway, so I'm really open. So I put an honest caption, and I can't after I posted it, I thought, am I mad? I need to delete that.
What was the caption? What was it?
I don't know if it was like, I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was just to do with like how I'm feeling. Okay. Like my emotions at the time. But it was just for me, it was like too raw. It was like people weren't, not that some people were, but it was like a point where I feel like at that time, Instagram was very like good picture, small little caption, and I had written all of this stuff. So when I wrote it, I was like, I want to delete it. And I went back, and then I had so many comments. Wow. So I couldn't delete it. And then I think someone DM'd me and was just like, they was like at the brink before they saw the message. So they literally wanted to take their own life before they saw that message. Wow. And that encouraged them that there's other people that are going through things and that they should like continue on. And I was just like, okay, from that moment, I'm never going to hold back. Even though there's going to be times where I feel like holding back, I'm not, because I don't know who I could be helping. And the things that I go through can hopefully help someone else.
Wow, and how did that make you feel, the fact that someone sent you that message and said, I was on the brink of doing something that I probably would have regretted, but having seen your posts, you inspired me to not do that. Could you talk a lot about, you mentioned about pressure.
Yeah.
How did that feel, getting that message?
Do you know what? If I'm honest, it felt like, because I did a lot of that behind the scenes. So when it's like, for me, it was like, I always wanted to be able to help people. That was always something that I had. I always wanted to, so my friends, I'd encourage them. Like I said, my mum, I used to be her therapist, I'm sure, but like encourage her. So I feel like that's where it came from, me encouraging her. So I always wanted like a platform, but like moments, right timing. So it was like when the wedding happened, and it like kind of put the spotlight on me. And then I kind of was shying away from talking about my situations. And then I just was raw, and then that person messaged me. It was like, okay,
you're doing the right
thing. Is what I'm supposed to do. And this is how I'm supposed to do it. And this is how I can reach loads of people, not just one person, by like a caption or a comment or so it felt pressure, but good pressure. That makes sense. Yeah.
And how do you deal with the pressure? Because as you said, your Instagram literally blew within 2 days, and from the wedding, a lot came from that. So you were invited to Meghan and Harry's wedding. You were in the room with Oprah Winfrey. So you've been in the room with big people. How did that feel within yourself, and having to kind of be this person where now you've just blown on Instagram? How did that feel?
So at the time, it felt a bit surreal.
Okay.
It felt like, it was just like, everything was just, I can't explain it. It was like, almost like, I don't know how to, it was, I don't know, everything was going so quick that I don't think I had time to sit down and
comprehend
what was going on. It's only now that I sit back and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I was doing a lot happened. There was a lot of people, like it was like a roller coaster. So I don't think I really got to take it all in. I was just on the ride, if that makes sense. So it's only now that I feel like slowed down, that I've been able to be like, wow, that was a lot, and a lot was going on. And a lot of people, I didn't realize that a lot of people were like looking to me. Even though, like, it's so weird. I always say now to people, I'm like, the numbers that you see on your, that's actual people. Because sometimes it's like, oh, I've only got this amount of followers. I'm like, yeah, but if you was in a room
Yeah.
with 10,000 people,
That's a lot.
That's a lot of people. If you was in a room with 1,000 people, even if you was in a room with 500, that's still a lot of people. So I think it's like you just see numbers and then you might see comments, but I don't think I realized that these are people. They're looking at me. They're as much as I do now. If that makes sense. So,
Oh wow.
yeah.
So it's kind of like upon reflection,
Yeah.
you can see and kind of say to yourself, "Wow, I've come far.
Yeah.
You know, I've been in rooms, I've been doing amazing things, and look where I am today."
Exactly.
And I wanted to ask as well, where you are today. You know, as I said before, you've gone through quite a lot, and here you are today. You're doing your music career.
Yeah.
You're an amazing mum. You've opened up about your ADHD. How did you get to this point where you can say, you know, you're doing your music career, you're singing, you're on the radio? How did you get to that point? So let's kind of talk a bit about that middle bit.
So I went, obviously my marriage broke down, so I went for a divorce, and I think that took a lot of self-reflection. And the moment I started going through all of that, I went to therapy because I was like, I can't do this by myself. Like, I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, so I was praying and stuff like that, but I knew I needed to speak. And again, there was a lot of eyes on me. I couldn't use social media to vent. And even though I'm the strong friend, so I have friends that I can talk to, but I'm the strong friend. So I was like, I need an outlet. And someone told me about therapy. And it's not something I particularly ever thought I would want to do, but I was like, okay, I'll start this journey. And I think like the first session, my therapist asked me a lot of questions, and I had to do like different forms about my family. And then from that moment, I was like, I'm broken.
Wow.
I didn't realize, like, I was like, oh, and at the time it was like, it felt so heavy because it was like, I thought I was doing well, and but like I had a plan for my life, and then that whole plan was just like just crashed and felt like it all broke. So I was like, okay, I want to start this journey, and then I'll be talking to my therapist, and I'll be like, I'm broken. I'll be crying. I'll be like going through all of that, and she'd be like, you're not broken. You didn't see certain things. You don't know certain things. This is all new to you. So you've just got, it's a journey. And every day, like, you just take little steps every single day. So started little steps. And I think, again, for me, especially with ADHD, the unknown is very scary. And with ADHD, it's hard to see. I always call it like tomorrow eyes. You kind of see what's in front of you now. So as hard as everything was at the time, that's all I could see. I couldn't see that, maybe tomorrow it'll be better. It could, yeah. But then at the same time, I knew I'd been through so much in my life, and I had got to this point. So I was like, if I'm still standing, I can get to a next point. So I feel like that middle part was just self-reflect, like a lot of inward work, just looking inward. So
I kind of, because I'm a therapist, and I kind of feel like when you start therapy, it can be very scary, and clients are like, I want to be fixed now, I want it now.
Yeah.
But as you said, it's a journey, and you take these baby steps. And from what you just said, it sounds like therapy was your pause.
Yeah.
Because you've been through so much, you know, you had so many eyes on you, and you had this kind of, you had to live up to a certain expectation for your followers and for the people who were inspired by you. And therapy almost was your pause.
Yeah.
Start therapy, check in with yourself, and, you know, get to the root of how you're feeling, essentially.
Yeah, and also get to know myself. Because I thought I knew myself, but I knew what everyone had said to me and everyone had told me I was. And I was also very, like, heavy in the church at the time. So a minister of girls. And I just always had this, had to have this almost like, I wouldn't say mask, because that's not, it wasn't a mask, but I'd say I always had to have this like strong strength and be there for everyone. So at that point, it was like I was being there for myself.
Wow.
So I feel like,
And what do you know now about yourself that you didn't know before? From going to therapy?
From going to therapy. Do you know what it is? I think the most I've learned how hard my childhood actually was.
Okay.
Because even though like I knew I'd gone through some things, I was like, my therapist was like, one of the hardest things to go through in life is probably like a divorce, losing someone really close to you. I lost my mum. Moving, I had moved like how many times? Yeah, and having a child. And I felt like I'd gone through all of them in the space of a short period of time. So yeah, it was just coming to that realization that, okay, I have been through a lot, and it's okay to grieve what I had been through and like look at my childhood and look at certain things. And yeah, so I think,
So you've gone through a lot of loss. and the divorce, even before that, losing mum, having to, actually no, even before that, moving, and then losing mum, and then the divorce, and your child, and where you are today. How do you feel now upon reflection?
I feel like it was all part of it.
Okay.
I feel like, even though the bigger picture hasn't completely come, I really, like, now I'm like, okay, I understand why I had to go through certain things that I had to go through. So I feel like I'm in a place now where, yeah, I get it. Whereas before I was just annoyed, like, why'd you have to go through so much? Like, why? But now I'm in a place where, okay, I get it. So, yeah.
And for me, I love this for you because you did inspire me. I remember watching your wedding and I was like, wow, literally mesmerized.
Yeah.
And I know that it was part of your past, but it's still part of who you were and kind of 100%. How you inspired people. But to see where you are now, to see how you've gone through what you've gone through, to see where you are now, and you're doing your music, it is for me as a mother as well, because being a mum comes with its challenges, and to see you still, I don't want to say being strong, but still being you, still owning when you're struggling, and being able to be open and honest with yourself. For me as a mum, you inspire me.
Oh,
thank you for inspiring me. I think, where can I go from here? That's it. Speaking of motherhood, how is it being a parent with ADHD?
Oh gosh. Do you know? I feel like because I had ADHD my whole life, and I didn't know. So I think the period before I knew to now knowing, it's like as soon as I became a mum, it's like I wanted, like, people used to be like to me, Cassandra, you're gonna have a baby. Do not leave that baby in the bus. Do not leave that baby in the because that's how, like, scatterbrained I was. But it was like, as soon as I got pregnant, I was like, I need to do better. Like, and I didn't know what that meant. I was like, whether it meant, I didn't understand what that meant at the time, but I was like, I feel like I found coping mechanisms before I actually was diagnosed. Like, I was like, okay, I need to have a lot of alarms. I just did things that now I see that, okay, these were coping mechanisms. Before I just thought it was my way of doing things. But I think it makes it, I don't want to say it makes it harder, because I feel like being a parent's hard as it is. I just feel like sometimes it can be complicated.
Okay.
Because of my emotions and because of just like my organization. But at the same time, I feel like it's helped because he gives me structure. So, and that's what you need. He gives me routine. Like, I wake up at a certain time. I have to. So it's like the only time it ever gets a bit is when the routine's broken for a little bit,
or summer holidays.
Do you understand? But his dad is really good. So we kind of like, we work together, in sync, and he knows how I am, I know how he is. So it's like, we just kind of bounce off each other. So
yeah, childhood, being a parent, kids will get you up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. They want their lunch at this time. They want their dinner. Yeah, so you do have a lot of structure.
Exactly.
And I guess that's a blessing because it helps you with being structured and being organized.
And just he's helped me, like, with my day. And even when it comes to, like, I thought I didn't do homework. I didn't do homework. With him, we have to do homework every day, reading. So it's like, it's really changed the way I am as a person. So
you've got that routine and that structure, and if you kind of slip off, your son will be there, mummy.
Like, Mum, we didn't read before I went to bed today. I'm like, okay, like, I have to. Do you get it? So it helps. It really does help.
That's good. And how is co-parenting? How has that been?
We call each other, well, he always messages me and we say life partner gang. We're in this until, we've got my son, so we're for life, we're going to be co-parenting. And to be fair, we were always best friends. We're two different people, but we've been best friends. And I think that's why we had to leave it where we did.
Okay.
Because I think if we didn't, we wouldn't be best friends. And it probably would have got really toxic. But co-parenting, we really understand each other. He's an amazing dad. He loves my son. we work together really well. So I don't really have anything.
But that's lovely though, because sometimes when we hear about co-parenting, we always hear the negative side of things. So it's nice that you're also bringing, a nicer narrative where two parents can get along together, they can have a child together, and they can continue to grow. And it's shown a lot to the world and other mothers as well who may be struggling with co-parenting. They can kind of, not to put pressure on you and say, look at you, but they can.
Because that's what they're trying to do already. I'm like, please guys, I get it. No, 100%. And I think it's because we have the same goal. Like my son is the goal, like his happiness. And I think I saw like a Instagram from, I can't remember, it was a celebrity, and she was the celebrity's daughter, and she was saying she's always heard about parents that split and how hard it is, and she's like, she never felt that because of how great her dad set up the home and just how he tried. And I was like, I sent it to him, and he was like, yeah, that's what we were working towards. So don't get me wrong, there's moments where it's like it's new. So like he went away to Ghana for like 2 weeks with his dad, and that was like, that was hard. I was like, 2 whole weeks. But it's just the little parts where it gets a bit scary. And then anytime it does get a bit scary, we reassure each other. Would like, I'll reassure him, he'll reassure me. And I feel like anyone coming in the mix might be like, oh, so why did you break? But it's because we know our reasons why we had to split. But the main, like our son, and just keeping that happiness, even when he sees us together, so he knows that mum and dad are happy, we're friends. We try.
And that's you. That's good for your son as well, because you don't know how that's going to impact him in his life when he's a big boy, when he can see mum and dad got along, all smiles. It wasn't toxic. It was just love,
and that's it.
And love is everything. Even when we go to the Bible,
everything. Love. And this is so anytime everyone's like, oh, what about partners? I'm like, I'll love his partner. He'll love my. Like we just have love. It has to be like that. So
I love that. How are you taking care of your mental health now?
Therapy still.
Oh, you still in therapy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So do you know what? I give myself because there's the points where I feel like I start to do my own therapy now.
Okay.
Like where I'm just like,
but that's what we want as a therapist. We always want our clients to become their own therapist.
Yeah.
And so for you to say you're becoming your own therapist, that's like a big tick for a therapist. So
I feel really good about myself.
Yeah.
But so I feel like that's happening. It's only like sometimes where life situations happen and I'm like, okay, let me have a few therapy sessions. I'm doing things for me a lot more. I feel like I used to care about, not that I don't care about people, but it's like you first, Cass. Like as long as you're okay, then you can be that. You can't pour from an empty cup. And I think that's what I was doing for a lot of years. So now it's like me first. I'm doing things and finding things that I enjoy, which like I love nature. I love walking, like simple things, but it's important to me. I love traveling. So I've done solo trips, stuff like that.
I've seen that.
Yeah. So just stuff that matter to me. I feel like I'm doing my music.
Yes.
That is its own therapy in itself. It's something I've always wanted to do, just been too scared to do it. So the fact that I'm doing it, I feel like I'm serving like that inner child in me. So yeah.
I love it. And what can we expect from you in the future in regards to music? Because I know you're on this career path of taking your music seriously now.
Yeah.
Your song's amazing. It's been on the radio. So what can we expect from you music-wise?
More storytelling.
Yay!
I feel like I tell stories anyway. That's just me as a person. So my music is just stories. It's I want it to be that people listen to it and can relate, be like, oh, been there. That's me. That's where I am now. Or that's where I've been. Like, I just want people to be able to relate, just like they can relate to my storytelling on Instagram, my YouTube. It'll be the same with my songs.
Oh, I love that. Any questions for me? If you don't, that's okay.
Do you find it hard being a therapist?
Yes, it is hard, especially being the age I am.
Okay.
I'm in my 30s, and I feel like
you look really young, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I feel like, I feel young, and I feel like not taking on a lot of people's problems, but listening to a lot of people's difficulties, it can be quite challenging. And as a therapist, sometimes you take on a lot sometimes, so it can be quite challenging, quite difficult. But I love it. I do want to break from it, if I'm honest.
Okay.
Just for me to just enjoy my life a bit more.
Okay.
But yeah, it can get challenging sometimes. But it's what I do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay.
Oh. We're gonna end now.
Yeah.
So on a scale of 0 to 10, how are you feeling now?
I feel like I'm at a 9.
Oh.
Yeah, I feel like I'm at a 9 because talking
Yeah.
and about, especially about my journey,
Mhm.
it reminds me that I'm heading in the right direction.
I
Like,
love
I've been
that.
through a lot, but it's still more to come. So
I love
yeah,
that.
and the fact, little things that you said, like, have inspired. It's nice to hear. So
Oh,
thank you.
anytime. I'm
Thank
always
you.
here. I wanted to kind of inspire you, and I
Mhm.
wanted to let you know you are great.
Oh, thank you.
I know you've gone through what you've gone through, and I didn't want to bring it there because you've come through that and you're onto bigger, better things. So I really wanted to have this moment for you to feel empowered and for you to know what you're doing as a mother, as a woman is amazing. So
appreciate you.
I wanted to give you your flowers for the
Thank
great
you.
things you do, because sometimes when we're associated with a certain thing, people tend to just remember that.
Yeah.
But we don't want to remember that because
Yeah.
you've got more things ahead of you and you're doing great things now. So let's kind of continue on with that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I love the compliment.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.